Hello and welcome to a multi-part video which I'm excited to do and is way overdue in my opinion. So what I have here is the Polaroid Zip mobile printer, Polaroid Zink paper which it takes, the FUJIFILM INSTAX SP2 printer which takes INSTAX mini film, which comes in a variety of borders. I only threw 2 over here, but there's about 10. So these are very similar products, and I am going to compare the quality of the output and the longevity of the output. So we're going to print some pictures today using each of the products' apps, and then we are going to determine how long they last by putting them in the window and waiting, say, 3 months and checking, 6 months and checking, and then if nothing's happened since then, we will wait a little longer. But I will print 4 copies of each so that we have 2 dark copies, a 3-month copy, and a 6-month copy. And that's going to start taking place right now. So I'm going to first dig into the Polaroid printer because I've already had my INSTAX for a while. So let's see how this is packaged. We open up the zip. It is nice and compact. You can see there's something in here. Quick start guide. USB cable charger. App info. Feels like a 10-pack of paper. And then the well-designed and certainly nice feeling Polaroid zip printer. So I will figure out how this works, load it up, charge it, and we will be back to you shortly. Looks like that's the first part of it. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm going to do some printing with the INSTAX SP2 now to do a demo and show what's possible with the app. So I just turned the printer on and the printer is empty. So I have this cartridge ready to go. Let's empty this, drop in a fresh one. You just match the yellow up to the yellow, easy enough. Close that, and out it pops. I hit close on the app. And now I'm ready to go. So if I was to print one of these photos, let's take that one for instance. Oh. Okay, so I just reloaded the app. Sorry, I launched the app. I loaded film in the printer, a pack of the INSTAX Mini White. I've launched the app and connected it via Wi-Fi. Now as I pick a print to choose, I'm going to go into my INSTAX print samples. Let's pick this one here. And I'm going to just hit print. It connects to the printer, sends the info over in about 12 seconds or so. You can see what the timing is as things are moving along now. After that one comes out, pop it down, complete. I'm going to go on to the next one. I'm going to print this one. Printing starts. Now at this point, I'm going to pause and finish up some of the printing because certainly no one wants to sit here and watch me do all these. But then we will come back and we'll have our dark storage and light storage and then have to do the same on the Zink printer. Okay, I loaded up the Polaroid zip and I had it print its calibration sheet. And now I'm printing out the first image that I selected. It is this one. We can see that immediately I can notice a little bit different in the finish. Obviously the INSTAX prints have a glossy finish, and the Zink do have a glossy, but it's a much different style. And I think here we can see that there is a different color tint. I'm not saying one's wrong and one's right. They're just two different colors. So let's move on and print another file with the Zink and see if we can get to the exact gallery that we can have to match both. So I'm going in my camera roll to find some pics. Get the same matched prints I did right there. Okay, using the Polaroid Zink app, I have my gallery selected, and you can see that these are most of the prints that are also out here that I already printed with the INSTAX share. So now I'm going to print them with the zip, and we're going to take a look at the speed. So let's see, here's one. I want to do a print preview so I can match this print to this. Looks pretty good there. I'm going to hit next. Let's check out the timing. Print. Now when I initially tried this, one thing I did notice is there is a slight time difference. So I'm going to estimate this timing with you. Clearly, I don't want to sit here and hold you up, but I'd say it's about 20-25 seconds. I'm sure the information's on the website. You can see now the two prints, slightly different aspect ratio. The print area is larger on the Zink, but I'd say, especially with black and white, I'd say that the INSTAX has a better black, better white, and if you notice, I think the highlight detail is showing up better than in the Zink. But we're going to keep printing, and we are going to finish these prints, and then you'll see all the samples here. Check back in a moment. Okay, I did some printing. You can see it here. Going to go over it a little more in a later part of the video. One thing I will say, the Zink printer, the Polaroid, does not give me an alert that I'm out of paper. So I just tried to print one with my app, and it will allow me to print it, but there's no alarm that I can see. So I'm going to open this up. Clearly it is empty. Load another piece of paper set. Here's my 10 sheet set with the blue calibration strip, and I want you to see what happens when you put this in. Get it in all perfect and nice. Get the cover right there, and fits back on. Perfect. That should start the automatic process, I'm hoping. I'm new to this, so let's see. It does say it's on. So I'm going to pause this since I don't know why, if I just put the paper in, why it didn't start automatically. Stay tuned. Okay, so I just powered it off, powered it back on, and I'm hoping it does something now. I'm going to throw a print at it just to make it think. Stay tuned. Okay, so I decided to throw a print at it. The calibration sheet is clearly not a print. There's nothing in the app that I could find that tells me run the calibration first. So I am not sure why it didn't reset and automatically push that out. But right now you see there is the blue sheet, which is not my print, and it does say it's preparing for printing. So I am sure this is a common occurrence for some, not all. I am new to this printer, I will admit. Oh, it's doing some calibrating. Wait. It is doing its calibration, we can see. Okay. So the calibration print sheet has activated. That's a good thing. And now maybe it's popping out the print that was behind it. So the good news is that it knew it was a calibration sheet. It just didn't tell me that it's printing the calibration sheet. This is actually a test print, so this isn't the one I wanted. This was the one that I just pushed through to make it happen. But I'll take it. It's a print. So what I'm noticing is that there is some good saturation with the Zink printer. But as you can see up here in the Flatiron building, some of the saturation is great and it's interesting in the dark blues. But I think the printer's going to have a harder time with whites. So I'm going to test it with a little bit of snow shot, and we're going to see, because right now you can see that flower is not looking as white in the Zink on the right as it is on the INSTAX on the left. And this, I think I want to look into a little more. Okay, let's find out how long this really takes to print. So I'm going to hit next, then I'm going to hit print, and then I'm going to hit start. So my stopwatch is going. So, looks like we're coming down the home stretch. Gonna hit stop. So I'm gonna say it's about 36 seconds. The app is now finished. There we go. Okay, so the zip printer took about 35 seconds to print from the time I hit print. And now I'm gonna do a test here with the INSTAX SP2. So when I hit print, I'm gonna hit start. Ready? Print, start. It's working on the image processing. You can see the status bar moving across. Print is exiting. I'm gonna hit stop right now. So this was 17 seconds. So basically, I'd say that's a fair half the amount of time that it takes to print on one from the other from the time of pressing start. The actual print time is actually much quicker on here. And I think part of that has to do with the Polaroid Zink is a Bluetooth device, and the INSTAX share printer is a Wi-Fi device, so I think some of the transmission times might be faster with the whole printing. Because if I start here, and the minute it starts printing, hit the start button, the file transfers over faster, and the print time is about 11.5 seconds right there. So pretty quick printing. It's a nice difference. 30 seconds or so to 10 seconds or so is a much different print experience. I got the alert that the film is out, so I have to change that. That was something that I did not get on the Zink printer, which I thought was missing, and I was actually quite surprised since it knows it has to count to 10. So I'll load this up and we'll be on to the next set of print evaluations. Okay, coming back in after doing a bunch of printing. As you can see, I finished my INSTAX printing, so I've got 3 of each actually, of all the INSTAX prints. I've added a whole bunch more. Starting to get a little bit better hang of the Polaroid Zink printer in comparison to the INSTAX. Something I see already is that it is much harder to control my accuracy of colors. Now, this is subjective. I'm not going to claim that it's just an inferior situation. I think it's somewhat subjective. But if you take these two right here, for example, there is a definite color difference. And the color difference on these two is that this, to me, has a better green that I recognize and a better white. Here, of course, there isn't a white, and I noticed that when I went to go and print it lighter, forget about it. There was no getting that white back. So that was something I noticed. And then Another thing I noticed as I tried to shift colors a little bit, it went a little on the dark side, and I think what happened was I got an error on the printer that there was a heat error and it needed to sort of sit. Now Zink is a heat-based system, so I would imagine that after printing about 30 images, the heat from the unit was actually causing a change in the actual image exposure. So I'm not going to utilize this one. I'm not going to utilize this one, but you can see they are definitely two radically different prints. This one I did lighten, this one I printed normal, that one right there was the original. So we have a variation. You will not get that kind of variation from the INSTAX system. It will print all of them as needed, and it will keep printing them, and it's a film-based system. So the Zink, with its zero ink technology and the dye encapsulated paper with it, which is heat-based, is having a little more trouble. I also notice here in the Oculus, I see again the whites are harder to control on the Zink. It's personal. I mean, if I got this print handed to me by someone and I had no idea about anything else, I'd say that's a great print. But when you see it compared, I'm finding a difference. I also see a little bit better sharpness, but that could just be from the overall color and contrast that the INSTAX is giving. You can see here in the flower, this color to me has a little more depth. It has a little more crisp change of colors. The red to yellow change is visible. This is more of a red orange, just you know, there's a blending of the colors. Same thing happened with the taxi cab. It could not get to the total yellow of the cab. It was more of an orange over here in the corner. I'll pull that out, hold on. You can see much different. Let me just make sure I got the focus set right. You can see much different color rendition of the yellow orange, and I think that most of us will agree that the taxi on the top on the INSTAX is a more accurate approach of color. Skin tones, same thing. There wasn't the same gradation. I couldn't get the tone I wanted. You can see up here with the young girl. I won't bother showing everything. Same thing with the young boy up there. Same thing with the bros over here. Every skin tone was a little off. The black and whites here, different approach. Once again, if someone handed me that, I might say, wow, you just printed that, that's amazing. But if I knew that this was black and white, and I knew that this was supposed to be black and white, I might have a problem. Here again, much different contrast tone in the lighthouse. Just personal preference there. I don't really have a big beef with that. And another thing I noticed was the app, once again, not alerting me when I'm out of film on the Zink was a problem. And I found the INSTAX app a little bit easier to use, although the interface of the Zink is definitely much better and prettier. Here was one that I thought was also quite readily apparent. This is a snow scene. This is hard for any printer, probably, but you can see when I did it with the Zink and the INSTAX, Zink, INSTAX, the contrast level, I think, of the INSTAX is a little more pleasing, but once again, can't hold it against them. If I saw this alone, I'd say that's a great snowstorm. If I saw this here, I'd say that's a little bit whiter snow, a little bit better black in the trees, a little bit better overall. But I do like the size of the Zink. I do feel that the INSTAX, with its a little bit more rigid feel and a little more durable, I think I like that durability. I think the Zink and the way it feels like a piece of paper is less to my liking, but I do not fault it for that. I think this is a very original product and interesting. I think that's the wrap up here. I'm going to prep these to put them in the window so that I have one dark storage, one that I plan on at least 3 months, one that I plan on 6 months to a year to see what the overall color shift is, and then we'll take it from there. One more here showing really what I'm saying about the whites. I mean, this is 1 sec, I'm going to switch it. Go ahead, hold the zoom here. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is no way would you ever think that the top black and white and the bottom black and white were the same. Definitely my favorite here. once again, if someone just handed me this, I'd be like, wow, that's cool, I got a print in my hand. But this is a much nicer black and white. So I'm going to give that round to the INSTAX printer. The INSTAX, of course, does come in square as well. We're just looking at the SP2 in the mini format so we could be aligned with what the Zink can do. And I want to correct one thing. Although the INSTAX did make a print faster come out of the unit, of course when the Zink print comes out after about 35 seconds, it is done. So there is no more waiting time. I think there's a slight enjoyment to waiting and seeing the print appear in the film side of things, but the INSTAX final print is more like a 5-minute wait time. But of course, after about 90 seconds, you start to see the image, and everybody has had fun with instant photography over the years. So that's a wrap here. Thanks for watching. Take care.